Shalom, shalom, it's the brother Kadash. I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakadash. Double honors to all the brothers out there in this, but they can't stop it though. This is Psalms chapter 83. This is a long video that I'm going to play, so I'm going to get a couple scriptures before. This is Psalms 83. Keep not thy silence, O God, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thy enemies make atonement, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So they trying to cut us off from being a nation, man. And the thing is, they taking that crafty counsel against us. So behind the scenes, this agenda is going out because behind the scenes, Moab and Esau and the other nations are coming together to take that crafty counsel to come up against us. So that's why they coming out here playing victim, because that's what they're doing. They're playing victim and they're pointing the finger so they could come up against us. And it's funny because they complain. What do you have to complain about? They've been basically untouched. As far as Moab, they've been untouched. They're not in as much trouble as Esau is. Esau is the number one wanted suspect. And Esau's going to be completely wiped out. Moab's not. But they still want to play this victim. They got a whole country. If you don't like America or the things that's running, you got a whole country you could go back to. I think they said there's more the average wealth in China is higher than here in America. I believe it was something like that. You could fact check that. But this point, verse 5, it says, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. See, they're confederate against us. Everything comes from China. They making buku money off this stuff. And they got a whole army behind them that they could run to with nuclear weapons and all that. It says the tabernacle of Edom, the Edomites, and the Ishmaelites in Moab. See, and this is the point of Moab and the Hagnars. So this is the point, Moab and Esau, but you got to watch those Ishmaelites because they just went to a peace treaty with the Amalekites, which are Edomites. Saudi Arabia, the Saudi Arabian and Israel, Israeli, they just went to a little peace treaty or something like that. So they all coming together and they finna come down, and this is going to get us to Jacob's trouble, man. Look, it says, and Hagnar. So it's going to be a lot of different nations that's going to jump in there. And it's just kind of funny that they want to me, that they want to kind of try to play victim, man. That's crazy. That's funny. You gonna see when I play, but let me get a couple scriptures so I can, bring the truth out first, show you in the Bible, and then I'll let you play this and you can see this calamity for yourself. This is Jeremiah chapter 30, because this is what this all leads to. All these nations are coming back together, and they're coming back to be confederate, and they're taking crafty counsel to come up against the Israelites. That's why so much talk about the Israel. This thing what you're finna watch, they're focusing on so-called black versus Asian crime. But we don't even make up a minority here. What about how the Edomites treat them? The Edomites treat Asians. From my own personal perspective, Edomites treat Moab way worse than Israel treat Moab. Israel is the ones that's coming to your stores to buy their hair, putting money in your whole family pocket by getting manicures, pedicures, massages. They come in there and they be, Eve, she be girlfriends with Moab in the shops, and they be friends and stuff like that. It's the Edomites that treat y'all low down dirty like y'all don't mean nothing. So it's funny how they trying to point the finger at Israel, man. It's crazy, but it's all leading up to this. Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7. Alas, for the day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. So what's going to cause Jacob trouble? The curses from the Lord. The other nations coming up against us, they demonizing us, putting in these different laws that make it easier for them to persecute us, and all nations turning their back towards us and coming together to be against us. It says, but he should be saved out of it. So it don't matter what they do, prophecy gonna be fulfilled, and the elect will be saved out of it. For it should come to pass in that day, say the Lord of hosts, I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and the strangers shall serve, and the strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. Who serves themselves of us? You know, the Asian shops, they put them right in the hood. That's serving themselves of us. You know, different loans and stuff that you got to get, and they put a lot of usury. If you're Israelite, they giving you high interest rates and stuff like that just because you're an Israelite. That's serving their stuff of us, man. Selling our woman Eve need hair. You know, referring back to what's that, Isaiah chapter 3 or something like that. Yeah, Isaiah chapter 3. You know, Eve hair was smitten. So Eve kind of got to go to who do Eve go to get their hair? They go to Moab. That's the stranger serving a stuff of us here. Let me see if I can find that real quick, so I don't misquote it. Just so you can get a full understanding of how this all play out. But when the Lord save us, they ain't gonna be able to serve themselves of us no more. And that's why they mad, you know? That's why they real mad. Here, let me see where I can find it at. Man, this is crazy. Slocky. Yeah, right here. Isaiah chapter 3, verse 16. Moreover, the Lord say, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with stretched forth necks, because they stiff neck, they don't want to listen, you know, and wanton eyes, walking and menacing as they go, and making tinkling with their feet, which reminds you of like a diva. It's pretty much explaining a diva. All these chicks want to be boss chicks, divas, right? All right, cool. We go see where that gets you. It says, therefore the Lord will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughter of Zion. He smite the scab, man. And the Lord would discover their secret parts. So, you know, it was just a part of the curses that was put on Israel, you know. In the kingdom, our women going to have beautiful long hair, and they going to be just beautiful all around, you know. But right now, that happened. So who do they go to? They go to the strangers in order to buy their hair. And that's what it means when you back in Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 8, when it says, and the strangers shall no more serve themselves of him, but they shall serve the Lord their God and David their king, who I will raise up into them. Right. If we was to go, if all Israelites came together on one continent, and we was just to go to some just way off land where nobody inhabit, you know, and we was just in the middle of the desert, and we were serving the Lord, and the Lord provided everything we need while we was in the middle of the desert. These other nations would come try to take us down. If we wasn't breaking no laws and nothing, they'd come try to they'd be confederate against us, and they'd come try to take us down because they need to serve themselves of us in order for them to benefit. But it's gonna be switched in the kingdom. We're gonna be serving ourselves of them. They're gonna be in their ass is gonna be in slavery, man. But it's just funny how they want to kind of try to call fall. This is Jeremiah. They're going to be punished for it too, man. Utterly punished. This is Jeremiah 48, starting at verse 11. It says, Moab has been at ease from the youth. See, Moab been untouched. Moab has been at ease when you look at the whole entire picture. Moab really ain't went through nothing. It says, and he has settled on his lies, and has not been empty from the vessel to vessel. Right, neither has he gone into captivity. He said Moab ain't even going to into captivity. Therefore his taste remained in his mouth, and his scent is not changed. Right, because he pretty much just been at ease. When you look at the whole picture of what people had to go through, the Israelites, we had it the hardest, 10 times harder than any nation. We've been in captivity under the Egyptians, the Assyrians, Babylonians, Persians, Persian and Medes, Greece, the Greeks, the Romans. Today, Roman Revised, America, Mystery Babylon. I mean, we've been under captivity under all these different nations. We've been, and then when you look at the other nations, they went through stuff here and there. But Moab been basically, like it said, he's been at ease. But it says, but verse 12, but this point says, therefore, behold, the day comes, saith the Lord, that I will send unto him wanderers, that should cause him to wander, and should empty his vessel and break their bottles. Right? And Moab should be ashamed, man, of Chemosh, as the house of Israel was ashamed of Bethlehem, their confidence. So it's just referring to a place where they be at. It's like an ancient city, but it's likening that to today where they're at. You know, their most prized city or whatever like that. The same way Bethlehem, we was ashamed of it, you know, because it was taken down. They're going to be ashamed too. It says, "How say ye, we are mighty and strong men of war?" Because, you know, they like to say, I think they said they had what was like 1 billion man army or something like that. They was kind of boasting about, and then they boast and say, well, they can match America and military, Mystery Babylon and military. They say they got nukes and they say they got fighter jets. You know, they kind of boast, you know, saying they strong men of war. It says Moab is spoiled and gone up out of her cities, and his chosen young men are gone down to the slaughter, save the king whose name is the Lord of the hosts. This is the point. The calamity of Moab is near to come. His afflictions hasten fast. So they just scrambling to try to come up against us because the calamity of them is near to come too, man. And the afflictions hasten fast. So we got to go through Jacob's trouble. We got to endure to the end. Through much tribulation, we must enter into the kingdom of heaven. But these other nations are going to be punished for what they trying to do, man. They ain't tricking nobody. Let's let this play.
Against Asians.
We need the black community to realize that.
Go back.
In what ways have blacks been pitted against Asians?
We need the black community to realize that black people are hurting Asians, and they need to speak out in their own community.
Our communities are not.
You hear this shit, man? Like I said, Esau treats Moab worse than the Israelites do, but they just want to speak out against the Israelites. All right.
Avoiding these incidences, we don't want to cause more trouble, more attention to our community.
It strikes me that this is the Asian equivalent of the talk that African American parents often have to have with their children. Montana's Ratanapakti is grieving for her father, an always gentle soul.
Happy birthday, dear grandpa.
Her dad, Vichar, moved from Thailand to San Francisco to help his daughter and son-in-law, Eric, take care of their 2 sons. It wasn't long before the whole neighborhood fell in love with Grandpa.
Grandpa always friendly, all the neighbor. Grandpa always teaching us about forgiveness. All the neighbor remember him, and he's smiling.
But this is the video no daughter wants to see. Surveillance cameras capturing the moment her 84-year-old dad was attacked and violently knocked to the ground on a morning walk.
It's painful. I don't want to see it. It's a broken heart.
Vichar died 2 days later in the hospital.
He never wake up again, bleeding on his brain.
What did you say to him when you got to see him in the hospital?
Dad, wake up. I want him to stay alive and wake up and come and see me again. But he never wake up again, and I pray for him.
The Thai immigrant's death, one of a slew of assaults against elderly Asian Americans in Northern California, drawing the spotlight after celebrities like Daniel Wu and Daniel Dae Kim brought star power and a $25,000 reward.
It was a very visceral response. I got very angry because I thought, this is now a year of these kinds of things going on.
The videos prompting more than 1,000 people to gather over the weekend in the Bay Area to speak out against anti-Asian violence, calling for racial justice. Police arrested a 19-year-old suspect who pled not guilty to murder and elderly abuse. His lawyer saying his client had no knowledge of Mr. Ratanapakti's race, since his face was fully covered with a mask and hat, and insists the attack wasn't racially motivated and instead had to do with a break in the mental health of a teenager. Even though no hate crime charges were filed, some in the community blame the tension between black people and Asian Americans.
I think they targeting to the Asian American community.
We need the black community to realize that that black people are hurting Asians and they need to speak out in their own community.
It is not just a black and Asian issue. It is something in the psyche of this country where somehow it's okay to physically or verbally abuse Asian Americans.
Coming through.
Community leader Dr. Connie Won says it's clear Asians are being scapegoated and blamed for the pandemic.
When the previous administration said things publicly, like the Wuhan virus,
the China flu, the China virus, the plague from China, we have to be accurate.
unapologetically, he helped to stoke the fires of anti-Asian violence against our communities.
Stop AAPI Hate began collecting more than 2,800 reports nationwide of anti-Asian hate between March and December. The NYPD reporting a nearly 2,000% increase in Asian American hate crimes last year. But Dr. Won says these accounts are merely the tip of the iceberg.
Our communities are not reporting these incidences. We don't want to cause more trouble, more attention to our communities.
In this moment, with calls for racial justice echoing, a broader conversation is taking shape.
Historically, there have been tensions between the African American and Asian American communities, but George Floyd galvanized the two communities in a way that I'd never seen before. I'd never seen more Asian Americans standing up in support of Black Lives Matter, myself included. And so I'm hoping that that momentum carries over into these cases, because it really ultimately is about a collective, unified response to injustice.
Historically, Black and Asian Americans have come into conflict in big cities, perhaps most dramatically during the unrest in Los Angeles following the Rodney King.
Baby, welcome to the party. And that's not even a percent. That's not even a percent of what we gotta go through, man. So it's just funny. But hey, welcome to the party. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna say salvation to the elect. Shalom.